Day one is in the book.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Want some water? It's showtime. Here is your host, Carolina Dad.
Welcome in, welcome all, folks. And we can officially go live. That was the old one, still fantastic. We can't go live without the new intro. So we are going to drop the new intro, and then we are going to get this show on the road. Without further ado, let's
brace yourself for the ultimate Carolina Panthers experience. Welcome to Two Growls, One Roar, the podcast that hits harder than a Luke Kuechly tackle. We're diving deep into the heart of Panther Nation, bringing you unrivaled passion, insider takes, and pure gridiron fire. From Wilmington to the cosmos, this is your home for the fiercest football talk east or west of Charlotte.
welcome in, welcome all, folks. Hopefully you guys are excited. What in the hell's bells is going on out there, folks? You know, we keep it PG over here. But with the draft officially here, man, first of all, I have to take a minute for you guys to see we have a guest on the show tonight. Number one, I can take the camera for 1 second and show you. We have our dog who's just camped out here. Don't know what the heck she's doing, but we have our wonderful Panthers calendar here with none other than DJ Johnson right there on the top. So number one, hope you guys are doing well, man. I've been dealing with some real life ish. In case you didn't know what that is, man, it's been a busy month, and we are going to get back into the groove of the live streams. We've been very busy with content. Hopefully you guys are tuning into the content. Survey would say yes. The dog wants out, so I'm not going to pause the live stream, but I'll be right back and let the fun times. The dog is officially back out. Hope you guys are doing well. This is going to be laid back tonight. But yeah, it's been a busy time. Lots of fun stuff happening with the show. As you guys know, man, appreciate the support. If you guys follow me on X YouTube's the place to be, or your podcast platforms, probably still trying to figure out, what are you doing? You go from Two Growls, One Roar, which is still the podcast. That is all staying the same. We put too much work, too much time, too much energy into that brand to change it. Just have. So that thing's staying the same. We have another avenue of a to-be-determined show that was going to be Kicking It with Kennedy that's It's out there. It's somewhere. There is a YouTube channel. I was going to do different X handles. I'm not doing any of that. It is what it is. We'll sort through it. Probably going to be heavily focused on North Carolina, maybe some South Carolina. That's the content that I create on the side. What's good, man? What is good? What's up, Doug? Hate rounding, having new players. I know, man. I do need to get some new players in there, no doubt about it. So I appreciate it, man. Yeah, a lot of family stuff. Wife recovering from surgery. She's doing well. Things are good there. Dealing with my dad. Dad's going through a lot of stuff. He's okay, like health-wise. I mean, he has dementia, but unfortunately, it's just a lot of stuff happening. So it's been busy. So I have not been able to catch you guys on live streams. I was and will pick back up live streams during the day. So for those who may have missed those, I was live streaming during the day, just going on a walk, talking Panthers football with anything and everything that was happening through the pipeline. So I'll pick all that back up. Things are kind of, knock on wood, and I will definitely knock on wood here, getting settled back in as best we can. But tomorrow's an important day for the Carolina Panthers, for everyone else in the NFL. It's a big day as the draft officially starts. I feel like everybody is going to be live streaming. I plan to live stream. If you guys want to tune in, cool. If not, that's also cool. It's not gonna make or break me. Probably will not do the whole thing, like, to be honest, and just depends on how things shake out with the Panthers. Do they stay with 8? We're going to talk all about that. Or do they trade back? And so, yeah, we'll see how it pans out. I will tell you, you guys know that last year I fell asleep. You know, of course, Panthers did not have a pick in the first round, so I fell asleep and then woke up in the middle of the night to find out they had picked up Xavier. So who knows what the heck's going to happen. I don't anticipate them trading back into the first, but I guess crazier things can happen once we get through the first, or once they get through that pick in the first. So I don't see them moving into the second or using picks to get up in there. Anyways, yeah, it's been a lot of stuff going on, man. Staying busy as can be, but content still booming along, and a lot of fun stuff just with the actual podcast. I mean, you guys, I talk about it. I started this audio only. It was 100% audio only podcast. So I still am out there on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. It's fun for me to do that. Plus, I mean, it's I don't do anything different. Like, I record an episode for YouTube and I post it on there, and that's how it is. Maybe one day we'll differentiate between the two. But the podcast side, it's fun to see the growth. And I've got to go back and do a recap, because I think last year we got into 20 countries internationally. And just the other day I was checking, and it's been streamed in 48 countries. It was something like double what it was, which is ridiculous. And we've charted out, which it's hit or miss sometimes, but this past week we charted out in Ireland for football. So, of course, the category that I am in is football, sports, and football podcast. We were the number 15, and it's very specific, but I don't care. Number 15 football podcast in Ireland. Just think about that. This is not just like me, man. This is the big dogs, the Pat McAfee's, the whoever's up there. So I appreciate if you are in Ireland right now, probably not tuning in because it's late, but appreciate you guys listening to the show, because I probably will put this out on podcast platforms for folks as well. And in the UK, much bigger market, harder to crack in there, but we were in like 150. US, we know that's a long ways to go to kind of hit the numbers here, but internationally, popping up on charts, it's appreciated. So thank you guys. In Germany, I mean, UK, Germany, Ireland, those are the big three, as you would expect, or I think you would expect for Panthers following internationally. But thank you, man. Appreciate you tuning in. Absolutely. And you guys can also tune in. I do not bite if you guys want to join the show. Number one, I've not promoted it in quite a while. You can call into the show. Now, it's not going to be live. I'm not going to be able to pick you up and put you on the show as it is today. But if you want to leave a voicemail, and I desperately owe someone a response to a voicemail, and I apologize because things have been crazy. I'm going to go back and I'm going to find it. But you call into the show, 910-679-6927. You can leave a voice message. I've been too lazy to not update it. Yes, you are calling into the show. It's a generic, whatever, Google Voice message, but you can leave it. Call in, ask your questions, or say whatever you want to say, and we'll put it on the show. We're also, as we kind of push this thing forward, I may look to, I know I want to bring on guests, kind of ramp this thing back up with some of the guests now that we get through the draft talk. It'll be a little bit slower, hopefully, because we need to bring on some folks smarter than me, which is pretty easy to do when it comes to this stuff. But no, in all seriousness, man, appreciate you guys tuning in. We will go ahead, because I don't want to be on here too late, man. I'm about a 1 hour kind of person on here. 1 hour is enough for me, especially when I'm just by myself talking, because an hour of talking by yourself, dude, it's a lot. We got a lot to chop up today, though. Primarily, you can see here, NFL draft preview. We're going to get into that. If you guys have not heard about Mock Draft Mania, the 7-round mock drafts, I'm going to tell you what it was. We're going to break down every pick that we made, talk about the fun that was, the fun that it wasn't, because it was terrible to put myself through that. I don't know why I did it, but I did it. And we are going to get into an actual preview. If you guys missed the video I put out earlier today of the 7-round mock draft, that I'm not the biggest fan of, but I think looking at the board in general, like, we're going to have a good ballpark of what we think the Panthers are going to do. So that'll be the last thing. We're going to get a few insights, pieces from the Derrick Brown, Bryce Young pressers. No, I'm not playing audio, but I thought we could talk through those very briefly and talk through, of course, training camp, which is like the hot buzz news that's out there today. But before we do any of that, we do have to plug some stuff. And you guys know, or maybe you don't know, ESPN Wilmington, that's where I spend a lot of my time. Nah, man, hanging out with my man Randy Slack. I will be on there tomorrow. So if you are in the Wilmington market, you can tune in locally on the radio, 101.7 FM, or if you're an AM person, I don't know, AM 630. We are going to chop it up. It is draft talk time. It's going to be the draft day. Thursday's the day. So tune in. And if you are not in the Wilmington market, you can still tune in. So you can still listen to this. Randy does not have a podcast. I'm trying to talk him into getting one. No idea if it's listening now, because he does early morning radio, 6 a.m. So, and he lives, I think, like an hour from the station, or like 45 minutes. So I doubt he's up. But I'm trying to talk him into getting a podcast, like putting his stuff out there, because because of the ESPN label, he can bring in some really cool folks. And he's got a weekly segment for the Hornets, a weekly segment for the Hurricanes, lots of fun stuff happening with the Carolina Hurricanes. I'm doing a promotion for him because he lets me come on the show and talk Panthers and be his Panthers guy. So I'm going to plug him as much as I can. And UNC Wilmington, of course, like, we are in the Wilmington market. So we get to hear from a lot of folks tied to UNCW athletics, heavily, of course, focused on basketball, a lot of stuff happening there, baseball, whatever sports are going on. And on Fridays, if you are a local sports fan for high school sports, he brings on Tim Howard of Coastal Prep, so you can get your fix for everything that's happening in the coastal area for high school sports. So it's fun. And of course, he just does his other segments during the week. He's also a comedian, so things can get funny on the show. So I just plug that. I'll be on there around 11:15. If you want to tune in, you can. It'll be available. It'll be a fun time. And let's see. I'm going to back this out, actually, because I don't remember. I'm going to do this in a different order than what I originally had. So we're going to jump into, we're actually going to go the bottom up, because this is how good of a planner I am. Let's talk about training camp. And you know what? I actually meant to put in the official statement. And you know what? This is the internet. It's the 21st century. I am smart enough to know how to go to Panthers.com and go to their news section, and we can just read this live if we can find it. Yes, we can. I'll share my screen here and we'll put this back up here and talk about it. And I will give you my opinion on something that, everybody can have their own opinion for it. But I'm going to give you my opinion and we'll talk about it. So updates on the Carolina Panthers 2025 training camp. Very short. We're going to talk about one piece of this in a second. But anyways, so here it is. And before we get into it, it's very short to read. I was wondering about this. You guys know it. And I posted, if you follow me, I guess it was last week, a few days ago, I said, I wonder what's happening in Charlotte. I wonder if they're building this new practice facility, if things are happening. I don't know why that clicked off, but we'll go back. And I asked the question, what's going on? We haven't heard of groundbreaking. I looked on Charlotte Observer. I looked everywhere. There's no news. I'm usually there's a groundbreaking ceremony. There's different things that go into construction. I'm not in construction, but you'd have some rumblings that things are starting to move. There was nothing. So I was like, okay, maybe they're pushing it out and they're going to have the same type of training camp experience as they did last year. But no, officially we get the word. So due to ongoing construction at the Panthers practice fields, the team is unable to host fans on site throughout the 2025 and 2026 Carolina Panthers training camp. So this year and next year, which is a bummer. So the Panthers will host fans during the Fan Fest at Bank of America Stadium on Saturday, August 2nd, 2025. So Fan Fest. Remember, there used to be Back Together. Sounds like it's just going to be one event. I'm guessing, based off of this, they're not going back to Clemson. And it said check back to follow team content from training camp for additional details about Fan Fest. So hopefully they'll go out. I'll stop sharing this now. Hopefully they will go all out. And dang it, y'all, I was sharing it and I don't think y'all got to see it. So I apologize for not sharing the right thing. It doesn't matter. It's on there. You can go to Panthers.com, 2025 training camp. So anyways, there's a few takes that I have on this. Number one, yes, we can all acknowledge it sucks. There's no denying that, especially for the content creator portion of the fan base and guys that create content. And I live in, you guys know, 3 hours away. If I make it to 2 practices, 2 training camp, that's good. When it was in Wofford, I could spend a week because we have family there. So, with it moved to Charlotte, it kind of put me in a bind. I can't go. But I know there's a ton of Charlotte guys, ton of guys in that area. They're able to go. They go almost every day. They report. You get that video clips in addition to what you get from the media, Panthers.com, IK, Joe Person, SI, all the folks, Alex Zetlow. So you get all of that mixed into it. And you're not gonna have that portion this year. I'm curious to see how involved the media will have, what kind of availability. And I should say we should shout out, keep Blitz and Carolina Blitz to Sheena does. So I feel bad dropping names and not talking about all the great people that covered the team. But we're not going to have, so we'll have them, and I guess they'll find out exactly what type of coverage they can get. But it is a bummer. So let's acknowledge, yes, it sucks. But I also got to take a step back here, folks. We just have to have a little bit. I'm just gonna ask for a very small sliver of common sense. That's all I'm gonna say here. Let's think about this from a perspective of inviting thousands, and I know it's not thousands during one day, it's maybe 1,000 to 2,000 per practice because it's much smaller than Wofford. Think about having thousands of people, though, maybe 20, 30,000 people over the course of 2 to 3 weeks going in and around an active construction site. If this was your business, why would you want to bring in people around the construction site? I'm just telling you, from a lawsuit perspective, the last thing they need is to have some kid get hurt, someone else. You don't need that. That's just smart risk management. And I just feel like this fan base, it's not everybody. I mean, it's maybe only in a portion. I just think y'all find, I'm about to drop some words I shouldn't say. I think y'all find things to be pissed about just because it's Tepper involved. Like, let's just simmer down. It's going to be okay. Not everything that happens is intentionally meant to hurt you and hurt your fandom. Like, please, okay? That's just my take. You can believe it. Now, I get the other side of all this too, which is, well, why didn't they look at Wofford? Which I brought that, like, it would have been great to have a, like, dude, you announced that you were going to take training camp from Wofford, move it to Uptown Charlotte, and then and I don't remember the sequence, doesn't matter. All within that same sequence, you're also like, by the way, we're renovating the stadium and we're going to upgrade the practice facility here. So those things were in motion. Let's switch back here. Those things were in motion. And if you're going to be a really good planner, maybe you say, you know what? We understand the importance of having fans involved. Why don't we work out a 2-year contract with Wofford to go back? We already know the lay of the land. We know how this operates. Just have better planning. You had more than ample time to sort that stuff out. Like that, it's just poor planning at the very last minute that you decide, oh, yeah, by the way, we're not going to do this. Now, if they did plan it and they just said, you know what, it's too much, I get it. Maybe they just, again, we know that was Jerry Richardson's thing. Maybe they just say, I don't want ties there. I don't want to do it. Okay. The logistics of it, all that, they liked being close. And being close home is not just a Panthers theme. Like, this is a theme throughout the NFL. You can go out, you can Google, do whatever you want, use your chat GPT, your AI. It'll tell you about the number of teams that used to have remote training camps that are now all bringing it in back to their facilities or close to home. So anyways, that's the lay of the land. Yeah, it sucks. And maybe they could have figured out an alternative. Maybe also they are going to tell you that it's not going to be delivered in 2026, that you're not going to have fans. And then, you know, the whole, what is it? Over promise, over deliver, under whatever. It's too late at night. Maybe there's an event that they get done, or possibility they get done quicker. I don't know. All right. We're almost done with this one. The only thing I will say, because this does segue into us talking about Derrick Brown and Bryce Young, if you are going to publish this news on your website, your team website, minutes, or maybe it wasn't minutes before, I don't know the alignment, your PR person for the Panthers should likely prep your 2 guys that are going to the podium. Now, Bryce Young, it sounded like he knew, but Derrick Brown got to the podium and had no idea this happened. Like, that's not a good situation. Now, this is a very small thing. Like, who cares if he doesn't, like, in the nature of what it is, it doesn't really matter. But as a PR person and for your team, it's probably good to prep them on any relevant news that, hey, by the way, you may get a question about this, or this news. Like, that's just poor. It's poor. And it's not a big thing, but it is in a way. It's like, come on, help your guys out. Don't have them walk into the podium, getting a question by a reporter. Last thing you want to do is get caught off guard by something. And, like, I mean, our folks are good, minus someone at, we won't say, a popular network. I'm not here to go down that path. Y'all gotta chill. I gotta chill. But anyways, maybe keep your guys prepped. All right, let's switch. Let's talk about Derrick Brown for a little bit and Bryce Young. There's really not too much. I was going back on the notes. It was a very short press conference. So he provided some optimism on his recovery from the injury. I think that's probably the most important news for Panthers fans, saying he feels good, great, excited to come back. Rehab started early. We're going to look at a few quotes from it. Should be good to go, you know, by the time the season starts. I think he even talked about when the injury occurred, just the whole not really knowing it until the day after, which we've discussed. Did talk about the excitement of some of the additions through free agency. Turk Wharton was one of them, was specifically asked about, and he called out. And then just really getting into the offseason workout. So on his recovery, this is what he said. So I'm feeling good, feeling great, excited to be back with the team and be back with the guys and moving around a little more. Really, rehab kicked off probably. I was doing rehab 2 days after I had surgery. So it's been a long journey. So that's positive news to know, hey, like 2 days after surgery, you're already rehabbing, which is actually pretty quick. So, and it's not as significant as an ACL. We talked about the timeline for him being able to get back in September. Talked about the additions so he was asked about the additions on the defensive side of the ball. And he said, we brought in a lot of great guys. I'm excited. Kind of missing last year and then being able to bring in guys right now that's going to help us and help the team and help this franchise. He's excited to get going and get in the fire with those guys, build those relationships. And speaking specifically of Turk, he said he's worked damn hard ever since he's been here and signed. We work out together. It's been one of those things where we get to spend that time here and get to start building that relationship. And I mean, honestly, that was it. Like I don't think I would expect anything else outside of a press conference for Derrick Brown ahead of the NFL draft. Like that's pretty much the meat and potatoes that you're going to get because there's nothing else that comes through. We also heard from Derrick Brown, Bryce Young. If I could talk, maybe we'll figure it out one day. We also heard from Bryce Young as well. And let me pull up my notes that I had on him. Regarding Xavier Legette, you could see the focus with him the entire offseason, his comfortability. You can tell he's comfortable and he's confident. Also, speaking of which, like this is Bryce Young's presser, but we have seen the clip of Xavier Legette rehabbing, running, moving around. So things look to be good after he was in that boot earlier in the year. And then outside of that, I mean, to me, it was pretty similar to Derrick Brown's. Of course, he's got more questions about continuity in the system. One of the themes was around the coaching staff. So he said, it's nice having this kind of the first year of having that comfortability and familiarity within the system, within the coaching staff, just a little bit of stability has gone a long way. It's something that we continue to talk about. The ability for Bryce Young now in his third year, this is the first time, which, I mean, it's a short career so far, but having the continuity there on offense, one with the majority of the guys back, like it's practically the same offense as last year. We have said how beneficial that is, and especially with Dave Canales, for the ability to get into the playbook faster, for guys to get on the same page and understand. And so it's all positive. I still think they need to figure out how to help him out, hopefully through the draft. Outside of that, though, there really, at least for me, I didn't see anything that jumped out. That he was asked about Colin Granger, the tight end, and I just had my notes on him. Yeah, it honestly wasn't anything. So pretty casual, pretty much your normal, if you follow all of Bryce Young's press conferences, practically the same as they usually are. A little bit of swagger, though, feeling it. So anyways, that cuts it for Derrick Brown, Bryce Young training camp. It's time to get into what we're really here to talk about today, which, of course, is I got to get my screen pulled up here. Mock draft, NFL draft final preview. So this is a preview. If you didn't see the video from earlier, we're going through a lot. We're not just doing, which I already did the mock draft, so we're not going to do a mock draft. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll look just for the heck of it. I have not done a mock draft live, but I'll get you guys caught up to speed on mock draft mania. And without further ado, let's do that right now. Actually, let's try put this up here. Not that. I don't know why. There we go. Mock draft mania. Today was day 7, and I'm going to get you caught up on all the mocks, like I said, here in just a second. If you missed this series, the way I did this, and it was very last minute, the reason I did it is I hate mock drafts. So why not force myself to do 7 mock drafts because I hate them so much? So that's exactly what I did. Folks know I did 2 mock drafts way back in like February and March, and that was it. I did not do a single mock draft until a week before the draft, and then we did 7. So I covered all the bases, did everything that I needed to do to get you guys prepared, get myself prepared. Of course, I read it. I know all the mocks that are happening and watch all y'all do your fun stuff, but I just don't do those. I don't. So anyways, it was 1 round per day with the addition of a round each time. So we did day 1 was round 1. Day 2 is round 1 and 2. You get the point until we get all the way down to round 7. Now, we did not or do not have a 6th round selection, so I made sure to have a trade in place to get a 6th round pick. So we did it, full 7 rounds. And the caveat was we picked new players every single time. And it's funny looking back now at some of the picks, or at least like where I started this whole thing. I don't know that I'm like as high on some of the guys from a week ago. Just kind of funny because it's only been a week, but it's just based off of all the rumblings that have happened. So it was fun. You don't have to worry about that, though. I'm going to actually make this bigger, hopefully. Let's break down. It's going to be a little bit harder for you guys to read, possibly. But I'll tell you exactly who we picked. I'm not going to spend too much time on these, but we'll at least walk through, and maybe I'll stop scrolling here for just a second so you guys can see it. So day 1, we mocked Tet McMillan. That's the pick that I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Tet McMillan at pick number 8 anymore. Doesn't matter. Day number 2, which was the second mock, we had Jihad Campbell, Jaden Higgins, and Princely Uman-Mielen. Say that. I cannot pronounce these names. That's the other part of this. We acquired that through a trade back with Arizona, where we got their 16th and their 47th. So I was trying to stay within a favorable range in most of these. Like my ideal range is below 20, and it's also finding the right suitor. I tweeted this out earlier. Pittsburgh is a team that people are going to talk about trading up. Pittsburgh's assets are pure donkey crap. They have a 21st this year and like 82 or 83. It's not good compensation. So if that is the case and they do want to move up in front of with the Panthers and trade, Panthers need to be getting their that first round pick, of course, 83 or 82, whatever it is, and then a pick next year, second rounder, something big. Like that's just where I sit. Day 3, 3 rounds. We had Jalen Walker, Luther Burden, Carson Schlesinger, and then TJ Sanders. So then it gets fun because we start running out of players to pick. That was through a round 1, pick 8 swap or trade back to Cincinnati for 17 and 49. Day 4, we trade back with Seattle. We get pick 18, pick 50, and pick 82. And folks, I used towards the latter half of this draft, I used ESPN's mock draft simulator, which is fairly new. I know they had it last year at least, but I used it again. It would tell you if the trade was favorable or not, and it wasn't too unrealistic except for maybe the Buffalo trade, which we'll get to, but doesn't matter. So this is a trade back. Donovan Ezeroku, I'm not saying that right. Jalen Noel, Alfred Collins, that was round 2. Ozzy Trapilo, Femi Aladejo, can never say that right. Billy Bowman Jr. and Demetrius Knight Jr. So that was your 4th mock. Mock 5 that, again, you have to pick a new player each time, so it gets more difficult, but we trade back. In this case with Indianapolis for 14 and 44. Michael Williams in the 1st, Benjamin Morrison in the 2nd, along with Elijah Arroyo. Remember, picking new guys. Joshua Farmer in the 3rd round. Cam Scattaboo in the 4th round. Not sure how I feel about that. Jonas Sanker, Tez Johnson, and Sebastian Castro in round 5. Yesterday, we had mock 6. This was the craziest trade. So it was pick 8, pick 111 to Buffalo for pick 30, 56, 62, 109. So it was basically 4th round swaps, and then pick 206. That was how I was able to get a 6th round pick. That trade, insane, ridiculous, absolutely. But anyways, we're going to go through it. So we have James Pierce Jr., very end. Like, I don't think the Panthers should trade back this far. It's way too far. Darius Alexander, Darian Porter, Arante Ursary, Jalen Reed, Harold Fannin Jr., Kyle Kennard. Also, the idea of some of these guys falling this far on ESPN's projections, it's quite different than some of the others that are out there. Barrett Carter, JJ Pegus, Xavier Restrepo, and Daquan Felton. Talked about the trade. Mock number 7, which is today's mock draft. So maybe if we get through this thing, we will do a mock draft at the end. Might as well. But so you know what we had today, I actually did not make any trades. I do firmly believe a trade will happen. Even if it's not pick 1 or, the first round, I think a trade's going to happen. Panthers have 9 picks. They've got the ability to move around, and we saw how active Dan Morgan was last year. I would expect the same thing. But this one, we reset. We're like, hey, we're too far along. This is your preview. Jalen Walker, if available. And this is I'll actually come back for just a second. Jalen Walker, this is a question that I have raised and put out there. Just the way that people view the NFL draft this year, like range 6, maybe range 5 up to 20, you're going to get a starter with that in that range, which is good. You could probably even go early into the second round, mid-second round, get a starter. The measurement of success is, hey, can you get probably 3 starters? Your odds of landing 3 to 4 starters, probably going to be more successful if you're able to get some of those guys. It's earlier. It doesn't necessarily mean that a guy that's drafted earlier is going to guarantee that he starts or be a contributor, but you would have to feel better. At least a guy that measures out or, checks the boxes is going to have a better chance of making it versus your 5th round or 7th round selection, whatever that is. So my question is, for the Carolina Panthers, let's assume that they are not stuck, that there is a trade suitor in mind. So on one hand, there's someone that's here available, wants to make a trade, and there's their dream scenario of insert your player. Jalen Walker, Mason Graham, Golden, Ted McMillan. I don't know if you throw Mike Hill in there, Walter Nolan, whoever it is, your dream scenario player is available at pick number 8. You have a team over here that's willing to trade. Do you feel more moved in picking your one guy that you absolutely want, or are you comfortable enough taking the trade and moving back and getting the potential of 2, maybe 3, probably closer to 2, but at least 2 guys versus the 1? I don't know. I mean, I'm always in the land of the 2, but then again, you think about how many times, how many times did you get to pick in the top 10? Well, for the Panthers, it's pretty common, unfortunately. So I don't know. That's just kind of the way I would think about this and how I'm thinking about it. But anyways, let's jump back in here. So Jaden Higgins was 2nd round, Cameron Williams in the 3rd. We're going to get into Dan Morgan in just a second. I mean, it's hard to really say that we're judging him because it's really been a year. But we're going to talk about the tendencies and where they've picked an offense in just a second. When we talk about offensive tackle, I think this is one of the ones that's moved around a little bit for me, moved a little bit higher in some cases. And it really has to do with the future of Taylor Moton. And I think we all know he's an Ironman, was an Ironman before last year, still a really good football player. We know about the pressure, the lack of pressure that he gives up, the lack of sacks that he gives up. He's a great guy. But the Carolina Panthers, with him being 30, which I'm over 30 now, so I always laugh when I call these guys old. But when you have a player like that, towards the end, maybe he still has a few years left in him, finding his replacement could be important for the Carolina Panthers, and they may decide to do it a little bit earlier than fans would anticipate. The other thing, and this has just been my mindset, do we know the state of Taylor Moton, meaning like when he's owed a bunch of money, but how healthy is he going to be this year? And are the Panthers banking on that? And the only reason I say those things is there could be a crazy scenario, and I'm not like, there's no source, there's nothing tied to this. It's just I have ideas. If they did draft a tackle pretty early, they felt good about that right tackle. You talk about adding competition. That's something that Dave Canales, Dan Morgan have preached. Add competition to every position on the roster. If you add a competition at right tackle, there's a chance that whoever this is comes in, could potentially win the job. I'm not saying that they will or would. You have to walk with me. In the event that that was a thing, there's always a very slim chance that you could cut Taylor Moton. And I'm not saying they should, or like, don't get it confused, but there's a possibility floating in my mind that if they do find the replacement, you cut him, you save a bunch of money, and guess what? You can go out and at least get a safety, because that's still a need. Blackman, maybe bring him in. We'll see. Or spend your money somewhere else. And that's just me getting too far into my ideas that I float through my head. Anyways, back to the draft. 111, we have Jonas Sanker. Again, Demetrius Knight Jr. at 114. Kyle Kennard at 140. Kyle Kennard, I'm a big fan of his. Yes, I'm a partial Gamecocks fan, so I'm always going to be like leaning towards him. But I don't know. He's fallen a little bit. He has really good production, had a fantastic year last year, so we'll see. And Kobe Bryant at 146. Clearly, I cut off pick 163, the running back out of Miami. I know I don't know Miami enough to tell you who their running back is that would be taken in the 5th round. We did not have the 6th round pick. And lastly, we took a kicker. So 7th round pick is a wash. Might as well go ahead, bring some competition in for Matthew Wright, assuming that, I guess, Eddie's never, at least not right now, coming back. So bringing the kicker in from Miami, Andreas Borregales. So mock draft mania, folks. That was it. If you missed it, it was fun. Now let's get you prepared. Like, that's fine. That was the mocks that we did, but we want to get you prepared for tomorrow, for day 2, day 3, some ideas, and you pretty much kind of saw some of the picks that were available. And then at the end, might as well go ahead, like I said, do a mock draft history. Now, front office tendencies, I don't know, like I said, that we can really say there are tendencies here with Dan Morgan, unless you want to tie him to Scott Fitter. I don't know. Possibility or trading up twice, trading down twice. Like he's very active. We know this. So second-year GM Dan Morgan, we know, served as the assistant GM before taking over as the lead decision maker. Previous stops in Buffalo and Seattle. Those are always teams to keep in mind when you talk about trade scenarios. Some folks have also talked about the Chicago Bears. This is one of the things that we tweeted out earlier too. So the Panthers have spent a league-high 7 picks on offensive skill position players, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, on days 1 and 2 of the draft since 2021. So they like to take offense, which makes me believe maybe they actually are going to take defense this year. We will see. Anyways, Morgan told reporters at the Panthers pre-draft process or conference, I don't really want to get into specifics, and we all know this, on where I would want to trade back to, but we're definitely open to trading back and acquiring more picks. We are open for business. He said it 50 million times. That's just where it is. Just a question of if the Panthers are going to have someone available who wants to make a trade. A few stats, and I should tell you folks, this data, the things that you saw in here, it was on NFL.com. I don't remember what they're calling this, but you could search up the draft and Panthers. They have a IQ board, so I'm guessing they're going to have some additional information about the draft picks that comes out, which is cool. The draft picks, I mean, you just saw us walk through the 7-round mock that had them, but round 1, pick 8, round 2, 57, round 3, 74, round 4, 111, 114, round 5, 140, 146, 163, and round 7, 230. All our picks next year. Next year, the Carolina Panthers are finally made whole. So the first round trade up scenario, which has been talked about, the odds of them trading up, now these are not odds, but they've put this on a scale of 1 to 5 stars. They have it as a 1. I agree. I'd probably put it at a half star, maybe no stars if possible. Maybe there's a slim chance. I don't see it. First round trade down scenario, the likelihood 4 out of 5 stars. Yes, probably. Like we said, that's the case. This was the one I tweeted too. That's like, okay, I get it, but I don't. The need for a quarterback, they have 2 out of 5. I understand Andy Dalton is 37. I understand he's here on a 2-year contract. Like, I just don't see quarterback need. Like, you can find a veteran quarterback through free agency. We still have Plummer. I don't see it as a need the same way that they have it on here. Now, draft stats with the probability powered by DraftKings, which is not a sponsor, but that's who's presenting the odds here. Probability of first round position drafted. Defensive line, now it doesn't specify if that's a tackle, defensive end, I'd assume. And then the linebacker, I don't know if that means inside or outside. I'd assume outside. Wide receiver. So those are your 3. D-line, linebacker, wide receiver. Tight ends 5%, cornerbacks 5%. I think those odds increase a little bit with the trade back. Offensive line also there. Safety at 3%. I think still trade back scenario. Running backs at 1%. Quarterbacks at 1%. I don't think either of those positions are going to be coming off. Now, we talked about I jumped ahead, so it doesn't matter. Anyways, I did this on the live or the pre-recorded version too. It's what we do. Looking back last year at the draft, I've talked about it. We've talked about it. I think it's a decent draft. Still need to see what Xavier is going to look like this year. Jonathan Brooks is out for the year. You can't really give an evaluation on him. I say he's out. Like, this is me assuming like he's not going to make a comeback based off of the injury. Trevin Wallace, I still need to see more out of him, especially being a 3rd-round pick. He's someone that's tucked away. I didn't see enough last year. That's just me. But there is some upside to him. I think he got thrown into the fire a little too early, and I think the plan all along would have been for him to grow along Shaq and Josie Jewell. It was just unfortunate that Shaq got injured. Jadavian Sanders, I'd say more upside. Especially with the 4th round pick last year, the injury felt like it set him back a little bit. Shaw Smith-Wade is another one that I'm a little bit higher on at the nickel position, but I understand still a need for the Panthers. And Jaden Crumedy, who we really didn't get to hear a lot from because of the injury, and Michael Barrett, who's no longer here, no longer on the team. But you know what? All that stuff worked out. So before you can truly, in my opinion, assess the team, the needs, you got to look at the roster. You got to look at the depth chart, post-free agency. All these things are important. That's exactly what we do. Up first with offense, this is a kind of way too early depth chart for the Carolina Panthers as it is today. Jalen Coker, your opposite receiver of Xavier, who likely would be your number 1, just based off of what we've got. Adam Thielen in the slot. Offensive line is, like, no question here. Icky, Damian, Austin, Robert, Taylor Moton as of now. I would flip. I don't know why I copied this over from something I was building out, but Jadavian Sanders, Tommy Tremble, whatever, the 1 and 2, Bryce Young, Andy, Chuba, Rico, and Raheem, and Jordan Matthews, technically your 3rd. So that's 22 players. We do the math, 53-man roster, 3 allotted to special teams. If you split it down the middle, 25 players on offense, 25 on defense. That's not how you have to do it. But if they were to go this route, and I should throw this back up here because I didn't really talk about the backups that much. But David Moore, I feel confident. I think they've got 4. I don't know that I'm buying into Dan Chisena right now. But offensive line, Christensen, Cade Mays, and again, Cade could be the starter. Chandler Zavala, Yash Nijman. I feel good about all those guys. So I realized I didn't really cover them. But looking at where the roster is today, I mean, absolutely could use another playmaker for Bryce Young at the wide receiver position. You can't look at this room right now and tell me you feel good. Running back, yes. Offensive line, yes. Tight end, maybe. Offensive line, like you said, done. But yeah, I think they've got to figure out a way to get Bryce another weapon. And, we kind of brush off the running back conversation because Rico's a one-year rental. I still wouldn't be surprised if Panthers decide to try to go get a running back later. All right, defense. Lots of improvements. And folks, before we get way into this, I got to let you guys know we're going to have another video breaking down, and I tweeted out a bunch of the content that's going in it, so you're getting a way too early preview. Looking at the past 20 years for teams that finished last in points allowed, how did they fare the next season? And overall, what we saw is the following season, pretty good improvement across the board. I think the Detroit Lions in 07-08 was the only situation where a team that finished last again. Like that, we know the Lions teams were terrible. But overall, you see improvement. There is one sad caveat to all this. So you look at the 20 teams, out of that 20-year span, only 3 teams made the playoffs the next year after being last in points allowed. So I think it's possible. I think the Panthers have a few things with health. It's just it's a big hurdle to jump. And there were even instances where improved defense didn't always guarantee that, because you got to have an offense. So I think it's important. Anyways, we're gonna do a breakdown on that because I think it's important to talk about. But here we are, post free agency, lots of depth, which is a key piece. Needs some depth, but you have Derrick Brown, Bobby Brown, Tershawn Turk, quote unquote Turk Wharton. I don't know. See, with Clowney, I am still deciding if I think Patrick Jones. I mean, I don't know. It's way too early. Possibility that Patrick Jones pushes him. You have 2 former Vikings, maybe as your starting outside linebacking group. We'll see. Trevin Wallace, and again, I'm not as big on him, but I also wonder if Christian Roseboom potentially pushes him for the starting job. And Trevin is more of a rotational piece. We'll find out. But for now, Trevin Wallace, Josie Jewell, DJ Wona, Mike Jackson, Trevon, Damani Richardson, J.C. Horn, Shaw Smith-Wade. Solid, improve. Like in general, how many new additions is that? 1, 2, at least from the starting 3-ish. So it's really only 3. Well, I guess if you take Derrick Brown into account, like 4 starters, new starters. Maybe if you throw Damani Richardson, but I don't know if that's a plus or minus. Second line, LeBron Ray, Shai Tuttle, Ashawn Robinson. I also think there's a conversation about Ashawn Robinson potentially starting. Like, we'll have a battle there, I assume. DJ Johnson, as featured on my calendar if you guys were at the beginning of the stream. Claudin Cherylus, Christian Roseboom, Patrick Jones II, Caleb Evans, Nick Scott, not too high on, Shamar Bartholomew. And then third string, I mean, not going to go, well, whatever. Roberts, Popo, Amave, Jaden Crumity, Amari Barno, Jacoby Wyndham, John Radigan, Thomas Ingram. So lots of room, lots of guys on here. I don't know how I feel. So you can look at this, and there's going to be a lot of talk about edge, as it always will be, linebacker, defensive front. I also, I'm telling you, you look beyond Mike Jackson and J.C. Horn, if they go down, really, a Caleb Evans, Shamar Bartholomew, and maybe you throw Shaw Smith-Wade over, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. So cornerback has to be addressed, in my opinion, through the draft at some point. Safety, safety for me is very high on the list. I know it's not like the top priority, but safety is just up there for me. So anyways, draft needs, Edge, probably number one. Maybe you put defensive line and end, a nose tackle, put them in the mix. I, of course, have safety. I put a nickel specifically, but cornerback, wide receiver, and then I still think about linebacker. Maybe for you, it's a tight end. Now, we talked about the Panthers picks. Where did they get these picks? They have their own first-round pick, 8 overall. They have the Rams' second-round pick that was acquired last year, their own third-rounder, their own fourth. They have the Cowboys' fourth-rounder from the Mingo trade, the Giants' fifth-rounder from the Brian Burns trade, their own fifth, the Ravens' fifth-rounder from the Deontay Johnson trade. And honestly, I cannot remember where in the world the seventh rounder came from the Cardinals, but whatever, it's there. And I just did not feel like going back and looking it up. So we are going to do a final mock, or I guess an additional mock draft at the end of this. We'll do it live for you guys. But let's jump in and take a look at some prospects. Oops, I hit the button. You can't see it. Draft day targets. This is according to NFL.com. This is the day one targets, first round for the Panthers. They have Abdul Carter. I already marked him off. I don't know. I don't bet. Has to be no way that this guy falls. So I'm marking him off the list. I think the biggest question that we have, that I've continued to say, is what do the Carolina Panthers do if Mason Graham and Jalen Walker are both available at pick number 8? And you have a team on the phone. Do they take the guy, one of these guys that they like, or do they trade back? Michael Williams is trending up. We know. I don't know how I feel about him, to be honest. Of course, I would jump on board, but not my favorite. Tet McMillan, who has fallen off a little bit, also in the mix. Will Johnson, Jahade Barron, 2 cornerbacks, but not at pick 8. These guys have to be later. And Nick Emenwari, who's not on here, safety, who also, if I could talk, should be in the mix as well. So these are the day one big board targets specifically through NFL.com. They put this together. Day 2 targets. And some of these guys could leak into round 1. And I think when we look at the top of this board, I don't know that some of these guys are going to fall down to pick 57, which it's a reason why we continue to emphasize this idea of trading back, because the Panthers need 2 or 3 of these guys within the first 2 rounds, not just one and then a late pick at pick 57, just the way we see it. So Donovan Ezeroku, say that right? Probably not. Out of Boston College. He's one that's it's trending up. Maybe late first round for him. So there's a good chance he's not available at 57. Emeka Ibuka out of Ohio State. Another wide receiver. First to second round. I think he goes in the first. Luther Burden the third is one that's fallen down a little bit. But you never know. Like these boards change. Teams prioritize this over that. I would be nice for the Panthers. And I think really, if we're talking pick 57 right now, it's got to be Higgins, wide receiver Higgins, Carson Schlesinger that we've talked about in the mix. There's quite a few other guys. Like this is a very limited view. Again, this is just NFL.com's list. This is one that I haven't seen, which is Siobhan Revel Jr., which is the cornerback out of ECU that suffered the ACL injury. I just don't know where that stacks up in as far as like where Panthers are viewing him right now. They have Jalen Noel and then Jordan Birch. So those are your day 2. And day 3, TJ Saunders out of South Carolina, Omar Norman Lott, defensive tackle, Deion Walker out of Kentucky, Jonas Sanker out of Virginia. We talk about running backs late in the 4th or 5th, Ollie Gordon the 2nd, Kyle Kennard, again, big fan of his, and Warren Brinson. So those are your guys, all right there. And folks, what we're going to do as we close out today's episode, and we are, where are we at? let's see. Oh, we're right at an hour, which is perfect for me because it's about bedtime. And we're going to be back tomorrow night. If you guys are late or haven't been here, we will be back with the live stream reaction to the NFL draft, all the picks, all the madness. We're going to do one final mock draft, and we're going to do it live for the heck of it. I'm tired of mock drafts, but you know what? We're going to do one for the road and take it with us. So let's go ahead, get this thing fired up. Let me see if I can share. We're going to try to share. It's not working. There we go. I will make this full screen so you guys can see it. I know everybody's got their preference. I like ESPN's 7-round mock draft simulator. We're going to do, I guess let's do normal speed. I don't want this thing to go crazy. The other thing about this is, let's see, driven by the draft day predictor model through ESPN Analytics. This is pretty cool. So it gives you, that's the cool thing about this. It will tell you at the end of the mock draft the possibility. Sorry, you guys couldn't see that. I was sharing it on my side. The possibility that a player will be there at the pick you pick them, the possibility they would be there at the next pick. Anyways, let's go ahead. If you guys are tuned in and you want to join in and tell me who to pick or make a case for someone, feel free to do so. I'm just going to do this one time. I'm not going to reset it. So whatever chaos happens, it happens. And we're just going to live with it as we go through this. What's good, Marcos Cash? Again, you guys want to they're slacking on the like button. It's the state of the world. No, I appreciate you, man. We're gonna get this thing fired up here. So if you guys do want to join in, jump into the chat. Let's hit start. Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter. There you go. Jalen Walker. Hold on, we'll close this. Jalen Walker off the board. Mason Graham off the board. Will Campbell, Ashton Genty gone. So this one is a little different. I don't know, again, what you guys use. This will not proactively offer a trade to you. So you have to go in and make a decision. And this is, like you saw, we did quite a few trade backs. Let me actually go back and look at, if I can pull it up, one of the trades that I liked from earlier this week. It's probably going to be the Seattle trade. I'm going to look at Seattle and see if we can offer the same thing that we did. So Panthers sit here. In my opinion, it's not great, and I'm not a big Michael fan. So sorry. If we make a pick, see who's on the board. Tyler Warren, Mimbu. So we could get a tackle, but again, I'm not a fan of it. Williams, Loveland, Barron, Johnson, Hampton, Sanders still there. Good news is Sanders is still on the board. So in the event, you got a team that wants to move up, have that on there. All right, let's go. We'll make a trade, and then I will hop back over here and check the chat once this thing picks up. So we said we're going to trade with Seattle, round 1, 8. Says, it tells you this is a lopsided trade. Sorry, I have to remember what we offered them. 50 and 82. Let's try that again. So 50 and 82. Yeah, so they won't accept that. We can't get 52. I can't get both. So not bad. So you get 8 in exchange for, we go back to 18. We get 50 and 82. So we'll go ahead and make this trade. While that trade loads, it takes a second here. It is a little bit slower. See how the board falls. Will Johnson, Shador Sanders to the Saints. Kelvin Banks. Here we go. Sorry. Mike Green's off the board. Barron, Jahad Campbell. Dang, that would be. I'm kind of high on his. And Warren, Loveland, Amari, and Hampton. So in this case, at pick 18. We have Michael Williams, Ted McMillan, James Pierce Jr., Shamar Stewart. You know what? I have not picked Nick Emanwari, We have, of course, Donovan out of Boston College. Walter Nolan, he's not going to be available. Maxwell Harrison, he's not going to be available. I mean, it really just comes down to who you want. I mean, I personally, and this is assuming, Ted McMillan's fallen in this as well, which is pretty wild. Curious if it pans out that way. Realistically, I'd probably take either Donovan or Walter Nolan, but just because this is a mock draft and I have not gotten to draft. Yeah, Walter Nolan's the pick. It's got to be. I have not gotten to draft Nick Emenwari though, at all. Oh man, I've been wanting to do that. I may have to pass, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm drafting him, Nick Emenwari, although we can all agree that likely Walter Nolan would be a really good pick there at 18. I think that's safe to say. All right, this thing takes a second, so I'm going to let it run. That's the only bad thing. I don't know what they're running this off of, but it can be a little bit laggy. So Golden, Michael was right next. Board is moving right around. There's Burden. There's Walter Nolan. He was early. Guys are moving down. Oh, yeah, Jaden Higgins. I like that already. TJ Saunders is also available. Let's see, team picks so far. So we have 50 and 57. Lots of this is, one of the benefits, again, of being able to trade back. So Jaden Higgins, I don't want Elijah tight end. TJ Saunders, defensive tackle. I like him a lot. Again, it's just a question of, are we trying to Trey Harris, Jalen Noel, trying to help Bryce Young? Or, oh yeah, Austin said he thinks he's a top 10 in this draft. If it was possible to trade back for him and get us early second, yeah. For sure. Marco said facts. It is facts. This one's tough too. I just went through the whole depth chart. There's a reason that's the other thing, and you guys may have missed the other mocks. I personally don't know if a wide receiver we get in the second round is enough to push to be a true X or starter. It's a possibility. I just don't know that that's the plan. So you have to, I'm kind of back and forth. Like, do you just add another guy to the room just to add him? Knowing that, Adam Thielen's not going to be here, but after next year, I don't know. What we got here? If it's D in the first and one of the second has to be a wide receiver, in my opinion, who is good. Get some yak. We need some yak. All right, well, we're going to roll with this pick then. Jaden Higgins ranked as the 32nd prospect on ESPN. First-round talent. We're going to scoop up Jaden Higgins. Give that a second to load. Move on to pick 57. Still good talent, and honestly, not a lot has changed. So TJ Saunders, Jordan Birch. I pretty much put myself in a bind by taking Nick Emenwari first, because now the edge class that I have available is not great. Like, these are there's still some good ones like Braden Swinson, Princely. Like, they have him ranked as 91st, which is wild. I think Princely will go earlier. I think Braden will go earlier. Not so sure about Jordan Birch, but let's go back and get this pulled up. Men are making Travis Hunter look goofy. Nice. All right, so I am going to go back. Let's see, do all. Oops. Oh, no. It's not going to let me. Let's try this again. Make a pick. Nope, it's only giving me edge, so this is great. Okay, cornerback, tackle. I still think defensively, TJ Saunders will draft. building across that defensive front. I will need to get an edge. I'm running out of time, but with ESPN Simulator, they have a few of these guys falling a little bit further than we would think. Panthers pick at 74. So far, Nick Emenwari, Jaden Higgins, TJ Saunders. So safety, wide receiver, defensive tackle, pick 74. Make a pick. We already have a wide receiver. We're not going to do that. We're not going to get a running back. They have Cam Scatterboo ranked pretty high. Dylan Sampson, running back. Jared Wilson, center. You kind of are in that offensive tackle range, to be honest. Ozzie Trapilo out of Boston College, where if we are trying to get a replacement, just for all right, we're going to go with what Austin says here. He wants Oluwafemi Oladejo. Man, we got to get him a nickname if he does land here. That one's tough to say. All right, so we're going to roll with it. So as that, I guess it won't process anyway. Safety, wide receiver, defensive tackle, edge, and we're going down to pick 82. I'll resume the draft here. Ozzie Trapilo, I still like the idea of getting an offensive tackle. I know, again, probably not everyone's like top pick. There's still Jalen Reed still available. Safety, I know he's coming through the injury. They still have Harold Fannin on here too, which is wild. Demetrius Knight, linebacker. Oops. I think for me, just because I am still in the camp that I think the Panthers are going to get a tackle, I also don't think Ozzie Trapilo would fall this far. But you also have Cameron Williams out of Texas, who likely would be in this range, but for the purposes of doing this with what's available on the board, we'll take what we got. I got to tell you too, when we start getting into these late rounds, round like 5, 7, yeah, I kind of run out a little bit of gas, man. I feel like the top 100 prospects, pretty easy to get a grip or a grasp on like who's who, but man, for me, shout out to the folks that do it. Once we start getting way down here into the 150 plus range, it's difficult. All right. So we have scooped up a safety, wide receiver, tackle, edge, offensive tackle. And let's make a pick. A bunch of running backs still on the board. I don't know that I want to take one, but we are in the 4th round. You do have Cam Scatterboo, Dylan Sampson. We just took our tackle. We probably could take 2 safeties, but I'm not a fan. I still like Demetrius. I still think linebacker is important. Jonas Sanker, who's, again, a prospect that we've talked about, is potentially landing here. Jared Ivey, edge out of Ole Miss. A few of these other guys we've already mocked through a few times. Let's go back. I only because he's showing up as a prospect that we likely could get. We're gonna really bolster the safety room for the Panthers and leave no doubt. I'm just going through one last time in this range. Yep. To make sure I didn't see. No what? Sorry, we're gonna twist it and we're gonna hopefully Sinker's available at the next pick. Probably should be. Adding a linebacker, Demetrius Knight. Yep. So there we go. Oh, did he get scooped up? Let's close this. Are you kidding me? The 49ers picked him right before. It was 2 picks in between. I was going to go back and get Sinker, knowing he was going to be there. Well, is what it is. Let's see back on the board. Cam Scatterboo. I mean, Jalen Reed, we could pick a safety out of Penn State. Jared Ivey. You know what? We do need depth at the edge position, I think, even. So we'll go ahead and roll. Let this thing keep rolling. Almost through the mock. next pick is at 140, and then was it 146? We got 2 more in the 5th, or 3 in the 5th. Too many picks. Jordan James, running back out of Oregon, in the 5th round, pick 140. Yeah. The one thing we didn't get is a cornerback, though. And to be honest, like when I get this far out into the depth that we have, I don't know. But pick 95 for Jordan James out of Oregon. Yeah, pick 146. Another edge prospect. Oh, Upton Stout is still available. We'll draft. We also, just like we did last year, as we let this thing finish, we'll be breaking down, but as best I can, in between the draft every day. So round 1, it's going to be pretty easy, but we'll see who's off the board. We'll, of course, know what the Panthers decide or decide not to do. Then we'll break down the reaction to day 2 and day 3 and look at the final day of the draft and who might be available as the board actually plays out. All right, so 163, we got 2 picks left. We've got a safety, wide receiver, tackle, edge, offensive tackle, linebacker, edge, running back, and cornerback. Yeah, this is where it gets like Chamiri Dyke, Logan Brown, Jordan Phillips, defensive tackle, Xavier Restrepo, Dorian Strong, cornerback out of Virginia Tech. I'm just trying to see if there's a few of the guys that we've drafted on here before. Let's go with, as we we're gonna, I don't mind. Let me actually do this on the side. I don't know that much about Chamir. Might as well look up a little bit about him. Not that it matters as if we're actually picking here. Dang, 4.34 40. He's got some wheels. Let's see what 6'1". What was his stat line look like last year? 42 receptions, 783, 2 touchdowns. You know what? Changing it up a little bit. Let's roll with it. And we got 1 pick left. Although it's not Mr. Irrelevant, it's at least Mr. Irrelevant for us. We'll give it a second. The last pick, the last mock draft for this year. Thank goodness. Maybe Maybe we don't even get to make it through. Maybe we don't even make it through the final mock draft of this year. Things just stall as is. Here we go. Slowly. I get all these kids' songs stuck in my head, or want to just make it a kid's song because we're a toddler now. There's a fire truck song, just in case you guys don't know. Slowly, or maybe that's not even the song. I don't know. Things all go together. Slowly, climb the ladder. Maybe it's quickly. I don't think we want firemen slowly and women climbing the ladder. Anyways, last pick of the NFL draft, mock draft. I think this actually puts us at either 9 or 10, no, 8. Willie Lampkin, my man, who is small, undersized, but dominant. I don't think there's a home for him if he'll make it. Who else? I can't really look. It sucks you can't sort by school. I'm going to be a homer. We're going to take Willie Lampkin just because. Probably could take anybody else, kicker, whatever. Doesn't matter. All right, this will close out. We'll take a look very quickly at the final mock draft of this year. Appreciate you guys, as always, tuning in, man. You guys can join through the chat course, we're on X, YouTube. All right, let's take a look. Our breakdown here for the Panthers, which you can see on the left. Oh, they had the chance that he would be available. Oh, at this pick, 92%, 5% chance he would have been available at the next pick. Jaden Higgins, TJ Saunders, Olu Wafeme Oladejo. Round 3, pick 74. Ozzie Terpillo, offensive tackle in round 3. Demetrius Knight, Jared Ivey, Jordan James, Upton Stout, Chimere Dyke, and Willie Lampkin. Rolling out your mock draft. Let's see if I can get pulled up here. I disappeared, so you guys can't see me. Anyways, folks, I'm exhausted. We hit the 1 hour time, actually over an hour, longest streaming forever. I will be back tomorrow live streaming for the draft, reacting, go through it, all that fun stuff. As always, appreciate you guys.